Welcome everyone.
Or not live.
Welcome everyone to the meeting. Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting into order and ask Kayla to please call the roll.
Thank you. Regent Jappanen.
Present.
Regent Bloom.
Present.
Regent Balducci. Absence is noted. Regent Cummings.
Present.
Regent James.
Present.
Regent Porth.
Present.
Regent Wright.
Here.
And I would also like to recognize our ex officio member, Professor Kalina Sasenker, and we have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Thank you again, once again. This is a joint of the ASA committee and HR committee. At this time, may I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Awesome. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Agenda has been adopted. I'd like to go ahead and pass it to Cameron today. We're going to go over the an informational item with the sexual misconduct report.
Thank you, Regent Jappanen. And I appreciate the opportunity to introduce our newest compliance team member, Alfonso Atkins. He'll be delivering the presentation today. He joined CSCU in August of this year. He joined us with over 15 years of civil rights compliance experience and service, most recently as the Deputy Director at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, where he served as the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Access Chief Administrator. Here, he will be overseeing our civil rights compliance efforts across the system, including our policy work and our programming for education. Prior to the museum, Alfonso held various civil rights roles at higher education institutions, including time as a Title IX coordinator at the University of South Carolina Upstate. He also has experience in the community college space, working at Ivy Tech Community College and the Community College of Rhode Island. We are so excited to have him here. He holds a BS in Speech Communication and Humanities from Northwest Missouri State University, a Master's in Theater Arts from Minnesota State University, and a JD from Indiana University. With that, Al, I'd like to hand it over to you to kick off the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Regents. Thank you, everyone here today. Really, it's been fantastic as far as a welcome goes, being here at CSCU. So let's jump right into why we're here to talk about our annual report on sexual misconduct. So I think we have our slides in front of us. Just for a quick overview slide, our next slide, please. Just to get an idea of what we're talking about. What was once, I think, referred to as 1411 reports, probably more accurately is known as a 10A55M report for basically the campus data from last year, 2024. And I'd like to be able to bring that to you as well as some of the prevention and training updates, and then talk briefly about our ongoing work as we move forward. So next slide, please. If you remember that this is really a requirement, okay, that we have all of our campuses, CT State, CSCU, or CSUs, report by September 30th, the data for the prior calendar year. That data will range from January 1st of 2024 through December 31st of 2024. And just as a reminder, one of the things that was really important to do was to distinguish the kind of difference of the language of the statute to the language of what is most commonly used, I think, in Title IX administrator parlance. So this is where we get the difference between reports and disclosures. With accord to the statute really asks us for reports. So as part of this presentation, we will talk about disclosures and reports. But within kind of the Title IX language, typically what we refer to as, I think, a report, right, is something that oftentimes we'll call a complaint. It's really kind of that next phase of someone who requests specifically an investigation or adjudication be handled by the university. But in 2023, as mentioned here, and this is a reminder, we really wanted to, I think, avoid that kind of unintended confusion. So we got all of the reports from different campuses to actually align how they refer to disclosures and reports in line with the statute. Hopefully it allows us to benchmark the reporting practices, of course, with other Connecticut institutions. And we can go to the next slide. We can jump right in. Excuse me. So what we're looking at here in particular are what's being asked for by the statute. Sexual misconduct, at least within what we're looking at specific to reporting, really includes sexual assault, stalking, and what the statute refers to as interpersonal violence, which within Title IX would be inclusive of dating violence and domestic violence. Again, the difference between disclosures and reports, the disclosure really could be of any nature of an event.
Oh,
Could
great.
you-
Stop video. Thank you.
Okay.
As I
Concerning,
this.
hey, concerning any one of
I'm
these
getting
sexual
no
assault,
signal.
stalking, or interpersonal violence, let's say, disclosures to the Title IX officer, Title IX administration, or perhaps other mandated reporters on campus. Those disclosures are not necessarily time bound or location bound. Those could be disclosures of an event that maybe took place, of course, that is beyond the jurisdiction of any current CSCU campus. They could have been disclosures from events that happened years and years ago. And oftentimes we get those, especially as we start to have more robust educational programming across multiple institutions. People feel more comfortable actually sharing things that have happened to them. And of course, there is a response oftentimes, even though we may not be able to assert jurisdiction, we may actually be able to offer supportive measures, and we usually do. So one of the ways in which we do that is really by building those robust educational campaigns at different campuses, which we'll talk about a little bit later. The report then, once again, and like I said, within kind of Title IX parlance, we typically think of these as complaints, but that's a document filed by a complainant or signed by a Title IX coordinator alleging sexual harassment against, and that's within the regulatory definition, so broadly speaking, against a respondent and requesting that the institution investigate the allegation. At the time of the filing of the formal complaint, the complainant must be participating in or attempting to participate in an educational program or activity of the institution. That's really the jurisdictional step that helps us kind of like delineate the report from a disclosure. Next slide, please. So our disclosures aggregated across all of our member institutions, as you can see. Of sexual assault, 127 disclosures, right? Being mindful that these are not necessarily requests to investigate, but instead how many types of disclosures happened across multiple campuses. Stalking, 38, right? Broken down by individual institutions, you can see here. And then with intimate partner violence, again, inclusive of dating violence and domestic violence, 118. Next slide, please. This is likely always the point at which people recognize that there's a distinction between a disclosure and a report. Recognizing that these are actual requests to investigate or adjudicate, you'll see the difference, the stark difference in numbers. And it's actually pretty common across multiple institutions, and certainly in my experience, to have a much, much, much higher number of disclosures than you will actual reports, because the reports are proactive and are actually seeking, I think, not just a supportive measure, but an actual investigation and adjudication from the university. So 17 of sexual assault, stalking, 0, and intimate partner violence, again, dating and domestic violence together, 2. Next slide, please. Looking at case outcomes, it's really important to kind of understand like what happens with those reports. And this is a good way to get a sense of how the reports, the actual investigations, or in some cases, what leads to an informal resolution are handled. So 9 cases, specifically of sexual assault, there were 2 findings of responsibility, 6 of not responsible and 1 partial responsibility. Again, 0 cases of stalking across the system. The 2 cases of intimate partner violence, while both were held responsible, one party appealed, and within that appeal was able to actually receive a reduced suspension on appeal. Informal resolutions, I think, are also a really good tool for Title IX administrators across multiple campuses. Oftentimes, you'll have parties who are in conflict, seeking an investigation, but sometimes, given the nature of the actual complaint, an informal resolution is appropriate. And we kind of rely, I think, on the skill, quite frankly, of our administrators to really know when to use or at least to offer an informal resolution to parties. Of course, parties have to mutually consent to informal resolution. And in this case, we had 8 sexual misconduct cases, which were, right, led to either agreed upon resolutions or a no contact order. Right, I should say and or no contact order as well, which just kind of like prescribes how the parties interact with each other going forward. Next slide, please. So briefly, I wanted to talk about the campus really prevention and training programs. This is really important. An important tie-in also to disclosures, because disclosures, while that number can seem incredibly high, the utility of having disclosures is really helping us build kind of I'll call it a vocabulary for training as we move forward. So oftentimes you'll see some, I think, actual kind of relationship between, right, the types of disclosures that we might see as far as topics like what's being disclosed, and then some of the educational campaigns that flow from that. As mentioned last year, the role of victim advocacy and support centers, LGBTQ plus centers, and women's centers is really incomparable across all of our system. They really do focus in on topics such as Title IX education and awareness, trying to raise that. Bystander intervention happens to be something that many of them focus on. Risk and harm reduction is part and parcel of talking about sexual misconduct training and, of course, prevention. And then specifically, some of the Take Back the Night speak outs that I've read in our reports from multiple campuses have been really, really successful. It's another way to deal with sexual violence on campus that many, many students, almost now generations of students, have become used to seeing. There's also partnerships with dating and domestic violence organizations. The Safer Rising campaign, Safer Rising is a national organization of which many of our campuses and member institutions have actually taken advantage of some of the campaigns and tabling opportunities, hosted those on their campuses. Those have also been successful. Clothesline projects, for those of you who may remember such things, really it's kind of a visual campaign to really establish like those folks who have survived sexual assault, sexual violence, oftentimes will hang shirts representative of different folks' stories on clotheslines across campuses. So certainly for a lot of our universities, especially like in residence halls, you'll see gigantic clotheslines being hung up at different times during the year. Oftentimes you might see it during April, which is typically known as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, which is great. It's a really fantastic opportunity to kind of show visually like your support for survivors. The Center for Empowerment and Education actually is really interesting too. One of the things that I really appreciate the work that all of our Title IX administrators across campuses did to really compile the information for this report. But what was great was to see so many community partners who were there like as primary resources for the education and training that could avail itself to, not just folks who report, but our students writ large. I should say campus community members writ large, really. But that was actually a really interesting conversation and narrative that I got. I believe it's in Danbury, right? Which is fantastic. And what was really neat was to see just how involved they were in trying to create, I think, safe spaces for survivors, many of whom, had identified themselves as being, Western Connecticut State students, which is fantastic. So I thought that was worth mentioning for sure. Next slide, please. There's also, I think, and I think you all spoke of this last year during Kim Pacelli's presentation. The sexual misconduct climate survey is part of, I believe, Public Act 2181, which is actually a requirement for all of our campuses to do that. But it was completed last year. Looking at some of the results, there's definitely more raised awareness. We could talk a little later, perhaps, about perhaps increasing, I think, participation in that survey. But of the results that were available that I was able to read, it looks as if many of these prevention and training programs that are taking place across campus are not only leading to increased disclosures, but they are more effective in having folks be able to identify or know who to contact if they happen to be victims of sexual violence on campus. Vector Solutions offers not anymore online training, and last year, all campuses participated in that not anymore training, not just students, but also employees. They have two different packages for sexual misconduct training. Our sexual assault response teams, they have different kind of acronym iterations across multiple campuses, but they oftentimes are a resource. Sometimes will also involve campus police as well, not just for the initial response, but also being able to provide additional education and training, especially for bystander intervention, which is really important to note. The Red Flag campaign, typically dating and domestic violence, but specifically dating violence on college campuses, also kind of a national effort that a lot of folks will participate in. And multiple of our member institutions participated in Red Flag campaigns this year. And then another community partner that I thought was worth mentioning, just because of just how I think enmeshed, in that culture of prevention and training they had, was the Sexual Assault Crisis Center of Eastern Connecticut. And speaking with our Title IX administrator at ECSU, it turns out that I think that particular center is a really good community resource for folks who identify themselves as survivors or victims of sexual misconduct. Next slide, please. So briefly, for our ongoing work, it's important to note that next year, we will speak about the things that took place in 2025, but worth noting that by the time our year ended, right, it was important to see the transition specifically to what happened because of the presidential election, and specifically because of a case called Tennessee versus Cardona, which is really a collection of states in the Eastern District of Kentucky who were challenging the rule specifically for gender identity, just to keep it brief, in Title IX. It did become successful. So as you have noted, likely, when the new administration, the current administration, really took place, it was important for them to revert back to not just the administrative kind of hearing component of Title IX, like investigations on college campuses, but also to distinguish, at least as a floor, what they thought to be Title IX extending protections simply to men, women, male, and females. There are a lot of folks, I think, who were rightfully, I think, wondering what would happen then for those who might identify as transgender or non-binary. And as was reminded last year, and I'll remind again, our Connecticut law actually allows that floor to be built upon, right? So while the Title IX floor may still extend to male and female with
I think he froze. We could probably just give it a second until he gets right back on.
Yeah.
Just 1 second.
Is Brandon on?
hey, right.
Al, are you back?
I am back. Hello.
Okay, good. Perfect.
Yeah, so I was wondering when the gremlin would pop up. So I knew it would happen at some point.
It's the new administration, Alfonso's grandma.
It had to be. It had to be. So I'll finish the thought. Specifically though,
I think he froze again. I'm going to have Brandon
Yeah.
come and help him.
Okay, thank you.
And I can hop in here and finish off this slide as he's working out the connection issues, if you'd like.
Yes, that would be great, Cameron.
So just to jump in on what Al was saying, there
I
was a
really am
change.
here. There
Oh,
we
you're
go.
back.
I have no idea why that happens, but I'm going to say it really, really quickly because I insist on doing it. Um, Current prevention and training efforts. We'll move on from where we are right now, knowing we reverted back to the 2020 regs in January. We are building internal resources, not only for training, trying to take those topics of disclosure, and matching those to educational campaigns. And, of course, the system office, we're really kind of helping, I think, serving as kind of a resource for our member institutions to help them build those kind of educational campaigns. Continuing to, I think, lean into the community partnerships across the system is really important as well. So that's been an ongoing effort, and I'm interested to actually get more involved in that, which is great. And then finally, the ongoing collection of this particular data, not just because it happens to kind of, be our obligation, but also it is a comprehensive and thorough look at just how well many of our member institutions are serving the needs of all of our campus community. So whether it be sexual violence of this particular type, or even if just extending, I think, the education about Title IX in general, really important work that is being done by Title IX administrators. I'll offer a full and wholesome thank you to their work because this is really just reporting on the work that they did to compile this information. And again, I'll offer my thanks to every one of you who has really helped build a sense of welcome since I've been here. Happy to be here and certainly happy to stand for any questions should you have it. And hopefully we won't have a gremlin.
Any questions?
No, you actually anticipated my questions in your presentation because I wanted to know if we had any evidence of intimidation, which is why the drop off between disclosure and reports. And I think you explained very well all of the measures we have in place through our various support groups to assure that there are multiple avenues for people to bring forward information so that it's not that the environment itself seems to be open and conducive to really supporting these types of policies and practices. And I just think we probably will need to hear more about all of the changes that constantly pop up in Washington and think about how we will respond to those and assure us that you will keep us updated as we either change policies or practices or somehow feel that the institution is at risk for any reason, given our current practices versus where the tone out of the or of the nation is going. So, and I just also want to say welcome. Thank you. That was a very good report.
Thank you very
Sophia,
much.
this is Rick Porth. I want to echo what Juanita just said. It's really good to have you. Welcome. I appreciate the report you made. So thank you for that. Can you help us put this report in a longer term context? For example, are there any trends or any other observations that you can share with us with regard to, I hope, progress in addressing these issues, or any issues to be concerned about over the past few months and into the future? Thanks.
It's a great question. In as much as I have been here since mid-August, one of the things that I think was really impressive upon entry was recognizing how much of the infrastructure for the work had existed, even though different at multiple member institutions. So it was good to see that there was some, I think, development of infrastructure. And what I mean by that is simply the way in which we invite, I think, not just to use this parlance, the disclosure leading perhaps to a report, but then the way in which I think we have existing victim advocacy centers, not just women's centers, LGBTQ plus centers, but also community partners helping on the prevention and training front. If I would say, and there are a couple of different ways to think about where some of the, hotspots may be moving forward. But I think both, likely what might be implied by Regent James' question in your room, um, the the thing we want to, I think, always have is a robust connection between that level of disclosures and the types of educational campaigns we have that invite, I think, those disclosures to happen. You could foresee a moment where, the reports, I think, not only go up, but the types of resolutions that we have are a little more diverse, right? Which would be great. Informal resolutions are used effectively, especially in different types of cases, be it that we have a civil rights compliance model, which I think is very, very good. And I would also say that what I'm excited about is the opportunity to really help create much more of, I'll call it a training library, if you will, that everyone can borrow kind of, let's say, an asset from. So being able to help establish that for all member institutions in the system is something that I'm very excited about. So I think we have to be very comfortable having that conversation, even in these relatively turbulent political times about, at the end of the day, we're trying to create safer campus communities for every individual here. So those are the things, those are just my brief observations. I would invite Cameron, who has been here longer than I have, to talk about maybe trends more specifically, because he's been able to kind of see and parse the data longer than I have.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can hop in just briefly because this is one of those data points where going up or down is not particularly a positive or a negative, right? We want the number of disclosures that matches our community and the folks that need support. The worst outcome here is when somebody is suffering in silence, right? So I think through our education campaigns, we absolutely could see increases in number of disclosures, and that would be a good sign, and not indicative of that there's more sexual violence occurring on our campus. So I think as we're looking at this, the important thing is the connection between the number of disclosures and the number of folks being able to process their situation the way that they choose. So offering, as Al mentioned, alternative resolutions, access to support measures really is the indicator of success here. And then as we progress through our, education campaigns and limiting, incidents that are occurring on our campus between members of our community, of course, is an extra benefit here. So getting folks to support the number of disclosures, I see high disclosures and it makes me excited because it means that more people are comfortable engaging with us as an institution to get support.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any more questions? No. I just want to say welcome. That was a really great presentation. Really appreciate everything. And I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the HR committee meeting. There's no questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Sophia.
Thank you so much. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Are we ready to start the Academic and Student Affairs Committee meeting?
Yes, we can start. We will need to call a new quorum.
Yes.
If you want to get us started, Regent Bloom.
Thank you. Welcome to the December meeting of the Board Committee on Academic and Student Affairs. I would like to ask our secretary to call the roll, please.
Thank you. Regent Bloom.
Present.
Regent Cummings.
Present.
Regent James.
Present.
Regent Porth.
Present.
And I would like to recognize our ex officio member, Professor Sasenker. And I would also like to welcome our Chancellor, Chancellor Maduco. He joined us as well. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Thank you, Kayla. First item is the approval of the proposed agenda for the meeting. Any motion
So
to
moved.
approve the
So
second?
moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Our agenda is approved. Next item is the approval of the minutes of the meeting of November 7th. I hope everyone has studied the minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the November 7th meeting?
I'll move it.
I'll
Second.
second it. I'll second it.
Any comments? If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are approved. Now we start our tour of the campuses. The next item is Central Connecticut State University. Dr. Costellas, you have an academic update, and your one item is below threshold. So when you complete your academic update, you might as well incorporate whatever comments you want to make about the below threshold item in earth sciences.
Sure, no problem. Thank you. Just a couple things I'll share. One, Friday is always our internal enrollment reports that go out. Although they haven't gone out yet, what I'm hearing is that overall we are up over 10% this time as compared to this time last year. So that is good news, that because we've really been trying to work hard to make sure that all of our current students get registered before they leave for the winter break. So we've had a big push for that. And nice to see the results thus far. Some other pieces that I'll just mention too that we've been working on for a while is improving our first year experience program. And this fall, we had our largest class since I think 2018. And the number of students engaged in the activities that we provided throughout the semester were attended very well, which was really nice to see. And we have also we had over 50 sections of our first year experience course, and we're offering some more in the spring because we couldn't accommodate everybody with the timeline of when we accepted students. So we're excited to continue that into the spring semester. Another piece that I'll mention is that we started offering supplementing our tutoring services that were on campus as well as online through our learning center. We have been supplementing it with NAC, which is, we partnered with them, which I described to the students and the parents during orientation is kind of like Uber. It's an app that we have our students download during orientation. And when they want to have tutoring, they can go on any 24 hours out of the day and log on to the app and make an appointment. And if we don't have one on campus, we have designated spaces on campus that they can go and meet for in-person tutoring or online tutoring. But also if there is a service that we do not have expertise for central students to be helping with the tutoring, then it expands out to the NAC network as well. So therefore, we've been able to expand out those tutoring services, and I'm happy to say that our initial look at data from this semester, our services, the number of sessions that have been engaged in has more than doubled, and the number of students that have individual students has also doubled as well. And I'm sure that's only going to go up given the time of the year that it is. And so we're looking forward to that. The last piece that I'll mention is some of the work that we've been doing in the transfer space, specifically with our work that the system office is doing with Arizona State University. And I know many of the campuses here are engaging in different initiatives as it relates to the work with ASU. We just developed a transfer academy, and we just had a very successful event, and we've had a number of engagement events. So with the guided pathway advisors at CT State, as well as going around and utilizing the different campuses to do pre-advising with the students directly. So a lot of work that's been done with that, and excited about continuing that space as we've been doing a lot to establish a transfer services, student services as an extension of our registrar's office. And we have also taken over the transfer evaluations in partnership with admissions and utilizing an AI tool to be able to expedite that, as well as have more confidence in that evaluation, and that works directly with the advisors. So some exciting things that have been happening, but I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Questions of the provost? Regent James?
Not a question, but a comment. Very pleased to see the progress you're making with respect to the transfer policy, and that you are working with Arizona State, because they do have a reputation of being quite successful in this regard. And I'm happy to see you're using guided pathways. So thank you for that. It's something, as you know, we have been a long time in discussing and questioning and examining, and happy to hear the progress. Thank you.
Yeah, and I will say too that the office that we have at Middlesex, we had piloted a temporary position, I think 2 years ago, because we didn't know exactly what that position would look like. And over the years and meeting with the folks at Middlesex and just the experience of having that, we were able to create a transfer navigator position, and that we have since hired, and that has also played into the work that we've been doing as well, and really connected a lot of the folks on the ground at CT State, not just at Middlesex, at other places, but also helped our faculty and staff coordinate visits over on campus too as well. So that has been great, and is also, and I don't want to fail to mention too that a lot of that work has been also the extension of the work with Nash that was done at the system level the year before that as well. So it's been great to be able to collaborate.
Thank you. Regent Cummings?
Yeah, could I ask more about the tutoring? You mentioned an organization called NAC. Is that NACK? Could you tell me a little bit about that?
KNACK. Yeah, so as I kind of mentioned, I when I talk about it with new students or parents, it's like Uber tutoring. So they hire our students. So when they hire our students, our students are paid through NAC. But they also have hired other tutors from their other constituents that they have. So that's why the expanded network is available for offering more than what we can do on the with our capabilities through our learning center. So it complements it. So our students are not losing the work either. They're still able to be peer tutors as well. But they have and we have specific areas on campus that are approved to have the tutor and the student meet if they want to meet on campus. But then they also can meet online through the platform, all of which is tracked for data purposes as well. And again, since it is a more of a national network where other universities are on board too, we're able to share that as well. So even some of our central peer tutors are helping other students at other universities as well. And it's all based on their availability. It's kind of like a call center. If a request comes in, then behind the scenes that call is put out for the tutors. It's triaged to ours first, and then if we don't have the availability, then it goes out to the wider network. So it really has allowed us to expand out the capabilities and the opportunities for tutoring for our students.
So let's say you have a central peer tutor that is offering tutoring help to peer students. What's the pros and cons of that person working within just the central system as opposed to working through the NAC system?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so we still do hire the central tutors in our learning center, and we hire them for specific hours that we have drop-in tutoring hours. But sometimes during those hours, students don't come, so we're still paying the tutors to be there, and they're not actually helping students. Whereas in the NAC, it's basically kind of like a per diem. And if they accept the work, then they get paid for the work. So it actually helps save some money in that regard because they're doing the work, and they're going to get paid for the work, as opposed to when we have the tutors physically in the tutoring center, which we still do in limited hours, but we don't never know what tutor to have available at what time for the drop-in hours. But we still do have that, because we still do meet those needs. But this provides that access, and quite frankly, our students are used to, being able to ask for something and be able to get something in return. And so this meets that need as well. It's more on demand, and it aligns with the work that they get paid for the work that they're doing.
So in other words, it may be more cost effective for Central to go this route just because you're not paying for time not utilized by a tutor.
Correct.
Okay.
Other questions or comments? In connection with the AI transfer issue, the student is this capability somewhat similar to what you would have with T-Rex? Can the students see what they need to do and what's available?
I'm not as familiar with the T-Rex, but the piece that I was mentioning with the AI is Raptor software, so that we're able to scan in the transcripts and be able, because that used to be a manual process in entering their transcripts. So this now does that for us, and we still do spot checks, human wise, to make sure there's no errors.
Yeah.
But that definitely has helped the amount of time in not having to enter all of that data, and we can spend more of the time in looking at making sure it's correct, as well as then making the advising piece as well. I know the T-Rex, I'm looking at Ainsley on the screen, I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. Regent Bloom, it's a great question. There's a lot of different platforms for transfer, and T-Rex is the Universal Transfer Explorer is really a database that allows students, families, advisors to go in and to see course equivalencies, as opposed to Raptor, which is like Provost Costellas really explained well. It's an AI ability to very quickly scan transcripts and upload them into the institution's software so that they can do the advising very fast. And again, like Provost Costellas mentioned, we're going to be using the phrase human in the loop an awful lot. There are spot checks. They are staff there making sure and doing checks to make sure that it's very reliable, but two different platforms, but both serving transfer student success.
This has come a long way from the day when I was an undergraduate, when the transcripts were handwritten. I don't know if anybody here remembers that anymore, but it's quite impressive as to what is happening.
Chair Bloom, real quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, just wanted to give kudos to Provost Costellas and the team at Central. In terms of NAC, I know as a provost in the Minnesota system, and Provost Heineck, maybe you remember this, the Minnesota system utilized tutor.com system-wide. And that was to complement, augment what on-campus tutoring, the limitations they had. Tutor.com, every subject, 24 hours, and available to all students, both undergraduate and graduate. So just seeing Central take an approach to meet students where they are and understand that students have tutoring needs that go beyond the typical hours of a campus speaks to us being student-centered. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you.
I mean, it's particularly, I think, as Provost Costello mentioned, in the season when we get to finals at this time of year, and the students are studying all night. They may need a tutor in the 4 o'clock in the morning. So this becomes, I think, this becomes a very important asset to. Do you want to make any comment about the below threshold earth science
Sure,
changes?
I can just make a quick comment. This is something that, we've constantly looking at all of our programs and making sure that we're serving the students appropriately. And one of the pieces that was concerning that students were confused about sometimes is we had different concentrations within the same major, and they had varying credit requirements, anywhere from 36 to 44 credits. So this is equalizing it so that it reduces any confusion, but also allows students to be able to, if they decide they want to switch in a different concentration or take some additional classes or take specific classes in an area that they're more interested in, then it does not penalize them. The credits are equalized across the concentrations. So, and it is our enrollment overall in the major right now is 41 students. So, it's enough students that we want to make sure that they're not confused and that they have opportunities to take various classes.
Any final question or comment of Provost Costello before we let her escape?
No,
Regent
thank you.
Cummings,
Yeah, on the programs like Earth Science, having been a faculty in that boat of having a program that's barely there. If there's any tools that you would think that we could think about offering those types of programs, I mean, the faculty member probably has way more preps than usual. They're also wanting to develop some relationships off campus to help. There's a lot to be done and not enough time to do it. So if there's any tools that you think would be useful for programs in the situation that Earth Science is in, please think about it and present something, because it's a tough situation for those types of programs.
Great, thank you. And maybe I'll touch base with my provost colleagues and we can even further, because I know to your point, sometimes all of these specialty areas are hard to cover. And it's something I know we've talked about with other provosts, like how can we complement each other and some of the work is, in earth science, biology, and so forth as well. So maybe this is an opportunity to have that discussion.
Great.
I think that would be very helpful. Provost Costello, thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you. If we may, we'll travel to Connecticut State. Dr. Heineck, are you here?
I am. Good
Welcome,
afternoon, all.
Dr. Heineck.
Nice to see you all. I would like to say that in checking our enrollment for spring, our current data shows that we're up 8%. In addition to that, I would like to let the regents know that on November 13th, we hosted a manufacturing summit, which was a great opportunity to showcase our 11 advanced manufacturing centers, get the faculty together along with the new Chief Manufacturing Officer for Connecticut, Kirti Patel. In addition to that, on November 19th, we held a workforce development summit with our workforce directors, our campus deans, as well as our campus presidents to review significant changes happening with short-term Pell. As many of you are aware, this will likely be implementing for July of 2027 because rulemaking is taking place now and in January. And typically rulemaking has to occur by the November before the July in which federal law is implemented. Short-term Pell will really be something for CT State in particular that we will have a focus area on over the course of the next year and a half. As you may be aware, between our workforce programming and personal enrichment programs, we have over 100 programs. So we are combing through those programs to determine which ones should be eligible for short-term Pell. The criteria, in case the regents are not aware, is 150 hours to 599 clock hour based programs between 8 weeks and 15 weeks. These programs also need to stack into credit-based certificates and degrees. They have to be ones that we have a 70% job placement rate at, as well as a 70% completion rate at. And we will also be looking at how they segue to living wage opportunities. So I just want to put that on your radar as well. CT State also is launching our strategic plan. So Dr. Royal is doing a wonderful job of getting us ready in January to launch our first strategic plan. And we are also preparing for our first comprehensive visit with NECHI in the fall of 2027. And those are my updates. I will also let you know, because I think you mentioned you'd want us to talk about the discontinuations in our comments. We are discontinuing the Business Office Technology Social Media Certificate. This is a holdover from the last time we met. We had 6 certificates and 2 degrees tied that were being discontinued. This one just got left off the list, but it's a similar reason. It's based on our post-pandemic numbers, changes that are happening in the field with AI. So that is why we are discontinuing.
Yeah, I think we talked about a number of them last month when you were presenting them.
We did.
Questions or comments? We have to discontinuation. We will have to vote on. So, Jenna, questions or comments of Provost Heineck?
One question, Provost Heineck, and that is really happy to see the continued diligence that is being applied to looking across the institutions for, both continuing, starting, and discontinuing programs. My question is, this proliferation of certificates and programs is something that has happened over time. So are we putting practices in place to prevent us basically starting down the same path again? In other words, are we going to be sitting here 2 years from now finding out that we've got, 5 certificates and 2 that overlap? Do we have processes in place to make sure that the work that we're doing now, we don't undo inadvertently over the next couple of years?
It's a wonderful question. As you may be aware, CT State as a new college just launched our multi-campus program review process this year, which we're very excited about. And in addition to that, we are looking at getting our faculty together in areas that still need additional support, with faculty working together to ensure that we're streamlining curriculum where possible. So as I mentioned, the Manufacturing Summit, this is an area that we will be looking at over the course of the next year to ensure that we are offering the right level of programming based on what industry needs.
Okay.
Region
So between
Port?
the program review process.
I'm sorry, Provost Heineck.
That's okay. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
So I think between the program review process and the work that we are doing to getting the faculty together on the non-credit and credit side, this will really help us. As you may recall, last year, we changed our organizational structure with our school deans. Our school deans now oversee credit and non-credit programming, which is different than what happened in the past. The reason for this change actually was fortuitous. We did not know short-term Pell was coming, but this helps us because ultimately it will allow us to build the crosswalks with credit for prior learning between credit and non-credit and help us to streamline where needed.
Okay.
Regent Porth.
Thanks. Thank you. Again, really good report. I continue to be encouraged by the steady progress that CT State is making on a number of different fronts. My question has to do specifically with the short-term Pell, the change in the way Pell Grants can be used. My impression is, in general, it's a good thing for us as a system, and in particular for CT State. And maybe you could confirm that for me. But also, I'm having said that, I'm really encouraged by the way CT State is working on leveraging these changes, making the most of these changes to help a large part of the population that could benefit from CT State and the system as a whole. Is it accurate to say that the short-term Pell and the ability to use it for certifications and some of the non-credit work is a good thing for us and for students across the state?
We are excited about the opportunity because, as you are probably aware, I think our last data points are that 85% of our students are financial aid dependent. So obviously opening the door to non-credit, which historically has never been able to be paid for by financial aid, should be a game changer for us. There is significant work for CT State to be doing in the next year and a half to prepare for this, but absolutely it should be a game changer for us, especially in key sectors like IT and manufacturing and healthcare. Those
Okay.
sectors in particular, I think, will be important for the crosswalking.
To me, this is really exciting news, and it's another tool, a big tool, to add to what we've been trying to do for a couple of years now, to open up access and to help more students succeed. I just want to say one thing, Ira, before I finished. I had the opportunity trying to help someone get a certificate at CT State Manchester to interact with the people in your workforce. I forget the full title, your workforce office. They were great. And it's really encouraging to me to hear that all these supports are being built up for some, I hope it's okay to say it this way, non-traditional students, people who might not otherwise have been able to afford the time or the money to get these certificates and other and degrees and so forth. So I just wanted to say that, acknowledge it. It seems to me some really good work is going on the ground too, to help individual students.
Thank you.
I would like to just also call out all the work that has been done with the concept at CT State that a student is a student. There is significant work that has been done to making sure that non-credit students are integrated into our student support services as well. We have connected them to CRM Advise and CRM Recruit. It's been a heavy lift from our enrollment management team, as well as our workforce development team and our academic affairs folks and student affairs. They've done a really wonderful job to try to help position us to be ready to launch in July of 2027.
It's exciting. Thank
you.
you.
It is exciting.
Chancellor, we're very pleased that you're here attending at the committee meeting with us, and you have your hand up.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in class. I'm really excited. Good morning, Provost Heine. Kudos to you and CT State. I would mention two things. Workforce Pell will be significant for our entire system. As we know, workforce development shortages are impacting every sector here in Connecticut and nationally. And you're beginning to see all 50 states begin to pivot and prepare for what needs to be done to embrace the needs for the next decade. So really excited to see that the federal government, at least in this case, has done something in the positive. And then secondly, Provost Irwin, just want to give kudos to Christine Broadbridge and CT State. Yesterday was Quantum Day. The state of Connecticut converged at Yale and New Haven for the National Science Foundation's site visit as it focused on the quantum CT proposal led by UConn and Yale. But what's at the core of the proposal is CSCU through Southern and CT State. And the role of our system and the role of really all of our institutions is to democratize what this quantum CT technology will mean for the economy and workforce development. And when we had the opportunity to speak to the NSF site visitors, I got to brag about our system and tell them, yeah, Yale and UConn in terms of being Research One institution. That's cute. That's great. And we respect them, but no one like our system has the ability to reach every single community and ensure that working class and middle class individuals in the state have access to quality education and are prepared for where this economy and where our state is headed. So I think Regent Port, it kind of just dovetails in terms of non-traditional learners and what we as CSCU need to continue to do to prepare and meet our residents where they are. So just kudos to our institutions that they're all doing phenomenal work in their own regard. So I just wanted to mention that.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Regent Porth, did you have further comment?
No, I was just giving John a thumbs up there. Thanks.
As he should get. It's interesting. I just have one. I've been involved in this enterprise higher education, public higher education since Pell came along at the beginning, and the short-term Pell. This is revolutionary. Just as Pell was revolutionary in the 60s when it first appeared. So, and this is, I think, a very important step here. May I have a motion to approve the discontinuation of the Business Office Technology Program at CT State?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second it.
Questions or comments? All in favor of approving the discontinuation?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Discontinuation is approved. Dr. Heineck, thank you very much for a most interesting presentation. Now we move, Dr. Ferrer at Charter Oak. You have quite a few items here to keep us busy.
Yes, thank you. It's our yearly pilgrimage through here. So I will not go ahead and do any type of academic updates because my academic updates will actually be the agenda items. But I'll be sure to come back. There are a lot of things in the hopper that I'm pretty sure I can come back to in the new year with some exciting updates. There are a lot of things going on. So, but first, just for the Regents as a reminder, what we do here at Charter Oak is that we do meet, over the summer break and things of that nature. We do our academic planning for fall of 26, a year and a half in advance using great decision intelligence. And then we do our updates for our program planning. Although we do have a 5-year plan for academic programs, obviously we confirm everything with our data 18 months out. But also with anything, we do our continuous of our academic program reviews and taking a look at programs that are doing well, and also programs where we should look at sunsetting. And so for the first item onto the agenda, our two certificate programs for discontinuation, physician practice management and provider credentialing specialist. These are programs where we give our programs here at Charter Oak at least 3 years to be viable, make sure we institutionally fund those, whether they're at a plus or a minus. And so these are two programs that did not, get the enrollment that we did hope. So we're bringing forward for discontinuation. And I do know we do have here one of our program directors, Stacy Walraven, as well for any questions. But Stacy, I'll turn over to you if there's anything else to add in regards to these two proposals.
So the first, we will deal with item 5B1, discontinuation of the physician practice management certificate. Can we move that to put that on the table?
So moved.
Motion.
I'll second it.
Any comments or questions about this particular program? Okay, all in favor of the discontinuation of physician practice management certificate? All the Regents of my life. Opposed? Abstentions? 5B1 is approved. Second, discontinuation is to provide a credentialing specialist certificate. Motion to put it on the table for consideration.
So moved.
Second.
Other comments about that particular discontinuation? Seeing none, motion to approve the discontinuation, item 5B2 of the provider credentialing certificate, specialist certificate. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Approved. Now we get to your new programs. Dr. Farrar, the first one is item 5C, but Finance Bachelor of Science.
Thank you. Yeah, so as part of our program planning, again, using great decision intelligence, we're looking at what is our menu or options of programs we should have here at Charter Oak. Finance is actually one of the most popular majors nationwide, and it's one of our kind of bread and butter programs that we currently do not offer. And so and also in the state of Connecticut, within our system, there are no other baccalaureate in finance online programs. And so obviously with being the insurance capital of the world over in Hartford and a lot of things within fintech, there's also a clear workforce need. So there's a high student demand, high workforce demand. And so we're bringing this program forward. A couple of things I do want to maybe highlight as well within the proposal. To discuss about the capstone experience and ethics core work, and also about integration of artificial intelligence within the curriculum. With our capstone, we have two direct summative assessment measures for this degree program. This is a requirement, and because we are currently working on accreditation for the IACBE, which is the International Accreditation Council for Business Education. So this capstone course is in alignment with that accreditation that we're currently undergoing. In regards to ethics, there are a couple of areas that we do have in there. We have a course proposed in this proposal on financial regulations and ethics, where it examines the ethical and regulatory dimensions of the financial industry. And exploring things like compliance frameworks, financial misconduct, and ethical dilemmas that we use through case study. And then, obviously, with artificial intelligence, not only do we infuse it kind of throughout the curriculum, but we also do have a course in the program specifically dedicated towards blockchain, cryptocurrency, and artificial intelligence. So we wanted to make sure that we have that in addition to our students that are going through the program. Obviously, there are AI tools built into things such as Excel, Tableau, Python, so that they'll be very well equipped for this. As we were looking at the BS in finance, we were wondering, did we want to infuse an industry recognized credential in a personal finance consultant? But as we saw that when the personal finance component is only about 25% of the finance need or industry, a lot of it is working for large financial corporations. So we decided to keep the program broader and appealing to where the vast majority of the jobs are within the industry.
Questions or comments from the regents about this particular item, the finance program? Regent James?
Comment, David, I believe too, the nonprofit sector would greatly benefit from this. There isn't a week that goes by that I don't hear from some nonprofit organization asking if there are available finance resources, because they're all being pressured to do a better job of managing their finances. And as you know, most of these programs and organizations are successful because of their programmatic expertise. But there's tremendous increased pressure to also manage their finances and the operational aspects, and most of them are not prepared for that. So they're constantly looking for resources and potential talent to bring into their organization. So absolutely appreciate it's a huge demand in the corporate sector, but I think it is equally a big demand in the nonprofit sector.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, definitely very well noted. We, obviously there's an increased scrutiny of audits with, the nonprofit industries, whether it be NGOs, et cetera. So definitely that compliance framework is definitely something we'll be making sure that applies all across the board.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions on this item? May I have a motion to approve 5C1, the Bachelor of Science in Finance at Charter Oak?
So moved.
Second?
Second. I'll second.
Any further comments on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is carried. Finance program is approved to move on to the full Board of Regents. Second item, 5C2, Early Intervention Certificate.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Dr.
Yeah, thank you. And so, with the formation of our School of Education, obviously we're looking at bringing forward a number of our education programs, in particular on the graduate side. So, to talk about this certificate and kind of where it fits and stacks within our greater master's degree, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hogan, who's our Dean for our School of Education.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So the Early Intervention Certificate is something that it was an idea that came to us from the Office of Early Childhood. The reason is because there's this shortage of birth to 3 developmental therapists to serve the children in that age range. So this is a 6-course, 18-credit certificate program that would actually be a stackable credential for those that needed to get the master's degree or wanted to get the master's degree. Afterwards, they could stay on and do that, that's the next program that we'll propose. But again, the stackable credential, OAC will be involved in developing the courses with us, and it will result in a credential from the Office of Early Childhood for someone to work as a developmental therapist for the birth to 3 agencies. Any
Questions or comments about this proposal from the regents? Regent Cummings?
Yeah, hi, Maureen.
Good
This
morning.
birth to 3 program, I'm trying to make sure I understand it. This is usually done through an individual school district. Is that how it works?
No, so there has been traditionally the 112 endorsement through the State Department of Ed, which covered birth to 3, but also pre-K and K. So there was a range for which students could graduate with that 112 endorsement and work. But the problem is that the people that go through the 112 endorsement tend to focus on pre-KK, and they're not really wanting to work much in birth to 3. And as a result, we just have a huge vacancy in developmental therapists. So what OEC wanted, what they did is developed a credential. So this would be something different, but again, would help them to work in the field.
But that birth to 3 program, is that done at the school district level?
No.
Or is it done?
No, I apologize. It is done through it. So it's the program is held at the Office of Early Childhood, and they contract out services to birth to 3 agencies.
Okay, so in other words, if there is a family that has someone 0 to 3 years old that needs some services, they would go through the state as opposed to their local district.
That's correct. Well, they would go through a birth to 3 agency.
Okay.
So a pediatrician might refer them to the local birth to 3 agency, or a child daycare center could do a well to the agency. They have meetings for what is called the IFSP, which is the Family Service Plan, to help that family have the skills to hopefully get the child out of developmental services so they're ready for school when they get there.
Okay, I thought.
And if not,
okay. So in other words, there's not.
Sorry, Regent. Let's let Regent James take her turn.
No, I was just actually going to address Regent Cummings. There is a dearth of resources available for this age group because you do have to contract through independent third party, and therefore for families who are financially restrained and constricted, they don't really get these kinds of services. So in addition to this really serving a segment of the population that is very, very much in need of these services, and education needs to continue to take place for families to understand the benefit of these early interventions. So often, people wait until their children get into the preschool system, and there's a huge difference in terms of the ability for these children to progress. The earlier the intervention, the much more positive and constructive the outcome. So often they're not, even if they're diagnosed, they're not treated or given the services until they get to the preschool age. So this is a really very significant, I think, intervention and innovation on our part. I know from experience because I have a child that desperately needed these services, but I had the financial wherewithal to hire the external agency to provide it. It was not provided um, easily through any of the existing systems. So I think this will really it's going to make a huge difference.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Yeah, we know that early intervention works.
Regent Porth?
Can I just add to what Juanita just said? When I was at United Way of Connecticut, one of our programs was 2-on-1 childcare, where birth to 3 was a key element of that. And I can't tell you how important it is for the early interventions that do take place and are successful for a child's success in school and beyond. The other thing is, for us to take this on and to help introduce more people into this field, what I saw while I was at United Way was that so many parents were scared for their children. We worried that children might never be able to thrive. And when you have a diverse group of people who can speak Spanish to one set of parents, or our neighbors with another set of parents in one of the cities or anywhere in the state, it makes a huge difference. Half of what we did was to encourage parents. You're good people, you're good parents, but you need a little bit of help. No problem, we can connect you. That's what this is all about. And for us to play a bigger role in that is really exciting.
Yeah.
I'll stop.
Thank you, Regent Porth. May I have a motion then to approve this?
So moved.
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Carried. Next, item C3, Integrated Early Childhood Special Ed Birth to Kindergarten, Master of Science.
Okay, so this is what the certificate could stack to.
Yes.
This program is intended to eliminate our ARC program. With the ARC program, we find it's an equity issue. The only people that can enroll in that program are those who can afford to pay out of pocket, and $7,300 is quite a bit for an educator to pay. So this would make the program financially eligible. Of course, with student loans, but still there's some eligibility for people to be able to enroll in the program. And the other thing is that it's the master's degree would be for credit. And right now with the ARC program, they receive no credit whatsoever for the program. And then they still need to go back to school and get the master's degree to be able to move their provisional certification to an initial. So this would help them to get the credit right up front. Our students have asked for this for a long time. And when I say our students, I mean our undergraduate students that want to go on to teach in the public schools. So this would allow them to do that. And once they finish the master's degree, they would not have to return to school again. So it's just a way to diversify the students that are eligible right now or I should say able to enroll right now in our ARC program. Just a little bit of transparency with this for this board, or this committee, I should say, is that SDE would need to approve this because this would be an approved teacher prep program. So we would have to have the Board of Regents approval first, of course, but then we would do the application to the State Department of Ed.
And Dr. Hogan, also, I think to add, this will also free you up from writing letters of recommendation to go to master's programs outside of CSE.
Absolutely. Yes.
Questions or comments about this MS proposal? Okay. Motion to approve the Integrated Early Childhood Special Ed Birth to K Master of Science program. Motion to approve. Second?
I'll second.
Any further comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is carried. You're on a roll, Dr. Fry. Next item is the Integrated Early Child Elementary Education and SPED Birth to Grade 3 Master of Science Program. That's item C4 on the agenda. Comments, questions about this item?
This is basically for the general as opposed to the other two, which were much more focused on special needs. I was trying to
That's correct.
Okay.
This is more general, but the other thing that this will do is allow somebody who's already certified to teach in a different content area, so they have an SDE endorsement, they could cross-endorse with this program. It does not need to be an approved educator program, but they need to take certain courses, and this would allow them to take the courses. We've met with SDE, we've talked to them about this. So it's good for cross-endorsement for those who want it, but it's also good for those who are working in early childhood programs that want to go on for a master's degree but don't want to teach in public schools. So it has a dual effect too. I think it's, again, our students ask for this. We have early childhood directors who want a master's degree, but they don't want to become certified to teach. So the other program, the one leading to the 112 would not work for them, but this one would.
Okay.
Comments or questions about the MS item C4? Motion to approve item C4, Integrated Early Childhood Elementary Ed and SPED Birth to Grade 3 Master of Science Program. Motion to approve.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Second. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is carried. You have your report, and there is a below threshold item on the MS curriculum and instruction modification. I think now, Provost Ferrari, would you like to give your report and then talk about the below threshold item?
Actually, we go to the below threshold item if that is possible, if that's okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, Dr. Hogan, anything you want
It
to add
doesn't
about
require
the?
a vote, so this is discussion.
Yeah, I mean, just going to add in about, we did the Masters in Curriculum and Instruction a year ago, but talk about the reason for the below threshold a year later.
So the only reason for the below threshold is we want to add in more elective credits, or not credits, elective courses for students to choose. When we did the initial application last year, we were approved to offer the program with just early childhood electives. But what we have found is that the community is hearing about our master's degree program and they're wanting more options for electives. And so this will allow us to add some ed technology electives, some special education, literacy, related to public education, like public school education. So once again, this is a community request that we offer more electives, which is why we're asking for this below threshold approval.
Any comments about this item?
Makes sense.
Yep.
Provost Farrar, now you finally have to give your report.
Yeah. So yeah, everything's we're good now for as far as a lot of our curriculum pieces. There are a couple of cleanups of slight modifications that we'll be bringing forward over into the early of 2026. But we are in overall good shape here. As I mentioned, with our enrollment in shape where we are, we're pretty pleased of our condition. We are going to be doing some things that the board will probably see over into early 2026 in regards to artificial intelligence. We've actually had a request for proposals for an AI partner to work with us on comprehensive artificial intelligence solutions for our institution, because that will go to a threshold that's above $500,000. Obviously, that will be coming to the board. So just let you know that there are those things happening overall for an exciting 2026 and we'll be glad to work with you and obviously around for any questions that you may have as we start to move forward into this next iteration.
Any comments, questions?
Exciting work as
Yes.
always. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Farrar, thank you very much for a most interesting presentation.
Great, thank you.
And we'll look forward to hearing from you at the next meeting again. See what you have up your sleeve at that point. The eastern part of the state, Eastern Connecticut, Dr. Wilson, your academic update.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So as we are wrapping up this semester, we're looking a lot at retention activities. We have 138 students who are graduating this December. We had a great event for them on campus Wednesday night, and we've got about 90% of eligible students registered for spring, and that number ticks up a little bit. Each week, our advisors and our faculty are reaching out, working with individual students to clear those holds. Some of the things that we're thinking a lot about are what are those sticky things that help students connect to campus. We have a really robust performing arts culture here at Eastern. And two things I just wanted to highlight for you. At the end of November, our Eastern Opera put on Cinderella, and we had a special performance for about 100 K through 4 students who made it through the whole opera. And that was a really wonderful opportunity to introduce them to the campus and introduce them to Eastern. And then as we speak, we have a couple hundred high school students through our dual enrollment program who are watching our production of Burial at Thebes, which is Seamus Heaney's adaptation of Antigone. And they are going to hear from the student actors. They're going to have lunch on campus. President Ismaili's over there, and he's going to be talking with them. So it's, again, a really wonderful opportunity to help the community connect with our arts programs at Eastern and also increase kind of interest and touch points for the students in our early college programs. The first cohort of our Small Business Resource Center completed their first course. We had 10 students, and their topics included banking and credit services, financial management and record keeping, risk management, and organizational structures. So we're looking forward to launching a second cohort for that in the spring. And finally, the cybersecurity minor, which this group approved last year, I understand, launched, and that has been going well this semester. So we've got a lot of things in process as I'm kind of completing my first semester at Eastern and looking forward to bringing some more curricular items to this group in the spring.
Any comments or questions of Dr. Wilson? Thank you very much, Dr. Wilson. Now we have to rush across to the western part of the state. Provost Hagedis.
Good morning, Regent Bloom, Regents. Happy Friday. I have some updates specific to things that are going on here at Westcon, but also I have a report on AI at Westcon, which I was asked to prepare some bullet points for as well. So I'll just start with some overall updates. Our spring registration counts are up 8%, similar to some of our other institutions here, and that's both in undergraduate and graduate enrollment, so we're pleased about that. We will be changing our class schedule. I sent notice out this week about that following a lot of analysis on our scheduling. There were some challenges with that, which led to challenges for students signing up for courses. So we've looked very carefully at that, and that will be implemented next fall. This will allow a spread and a diverse set of options for students across the whole week. It will also allow us to have 2 common hours, which our students were asking for, and for us to have some common time for events, for meetings, for mindfulness activities. So we're very pleased that we can build that in. And our students and our Senate had asked for that as well. So implementing it alongside course leave, which allows us to build in guidelines and directions for how we plan utilizing the whole day. It makes this very timely. And so I'm pleased where we are at. There will be some programs that will need some waivers from that because of just the structure and the nature of the programs that in terms of the hours that are needed in certain programs. But that's we're pleased about that, moving that forward as well. And our Danbury delegation were here at WestCon on Tuesday, where we engaged with them in a walk in the life of a student in the snow. And that was very positive, and we feel we've got they feel very renewed about WestCon and leadership. They interacted, not only seeing various parts of the campus, but also interacting and having lunch with some of our students here as well, which was great. So the weather did not deter us. So I want to thank Chancellor Maduco as well, if he's still online. Thank you, Chancellor, for being there and supporting us on that day. I think it was very positive as well. So thank you for your support. We really appreciate it. And now to some specifics on what WestCon is doing in the space of AI. I wanted to highlight particularly the work of our Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching, where a lot of this work is being developed and supported. These are really in three areas, the first being faculty development and training, the second in policy and guidelines, and the third, thought leadership and support for innovation. So we're really taking a very looking at this in terms of the affordances of AI, both in the classroom and outside the classroom. So some examples in the faculty development space, there have been several professional development sessions on ethical and effective uses of AI in teaching, trying to demystify AI and AI basics, including prompt engineering, some practical applications and generative AI tools in course design, designing rubrics, formative assessments with AI support, and really understanding privacy and academic integrity concerns as well. There have been several workshops and discussions facilitated about AI integration and in terms of strategies for teaching and learning, and also some showcase projects, faculty AI projects through a university-wide Tech Scoop event. The second area, which I think we're all thinking very hard about, is the policy and guidelines. And so the Center established a working group, a committee to think through what that means both institutionally and also contribute system-wide to the ongoing discussions around AI policy. And I want to come back to that at the end. And then in the thought leadership area, again, sharing insights on generative AI opportunities and challenges in higher ed. It's a much broader dialogue. Dialogue on adaptive writing instruction and assessments, and also thinking about cross-disciplinary collaboration to address ethical issues like bias and data privacy. So quite a lot in that space in terms of both thinking, educating, professional development, and implementing. And finally, very pleased as we continue to build up our Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching, playing a really central role on our campus. We established some innovation grants and faculty fellows this year, and all of those were involved through their proposals in AI-related work. So our faculty fellow developed a campus-wide prompt engineering and custom GPT toolkit, and we can be running some workshops in a student AI lab for students in the spring. Creating shareable teaching and learning modules to support responsive and effective use. Launched a marketing AI content studio for hands-on creation of AI-generated marketing content, and is also developing papers in that area. So our faculty fellow, Professor Abu Agilt, has been very, very productive there, and I think it spans quite a lot of that space as we think about it, not just in curriculum, but in co-curricular activities, and also supporting the broader infrastructure at our institution. And the innovation grants have been focused on piloting an AI-enabled VR platform where nursing students can conduct telemedicine visits with virtual patients and AI assistants. This system combines immersive VR, AI clinical reasoning, and voice-driven documentation to reflect on the emerging tools in hospitals. This is aligned with the American Association of Colleges of Nurses competencies and AI literacy. So this is in progress and will be piloted, and I look forward to updating on that. So I think what we're trying to do here is think broadly, keeping in mind aspects of academic integrity, as well as looking, wrapping our arms around the space that we feel we can do and share and build. I think obviously many of us are also thinking through in this space, but I wanted to end with a note on policy. We are convening, the provost, Dr. Diamond's convening us around academic integrity, and clearly part of that links very much to AI. I've seen the number of cases of grade appeals go up, all of them linked to AI use. And I think, as we rethink integrity within our programs and the work of our students, we have to be mindful. This is a different era, very powerful. So I see policy. My personal note on it, it falls under three buckets. There's sort of the regulation, the oversight piece, the compliance piece, the rules. But I really think we should focus also on a sort of change policy, the change, both positive and negative. In higher ed, we are seeing this and utilizing it and operationalizing it for positive benefit. Certainly our new president here is really pushing for the usage in our operations as well as our academic programs to increase efficiencies and productivity. And I think we also, the space is evolving and we don't know where it's heading. So I feel that a policy that perhaps keeps in mind unknown change and affordances in the future is probably very wise. So I gave a lot of detail there. I hope that responds to Regent Bloom to your ask, and that's the end of my report. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. As you may remember, we had a report on AI at each of the campuses at the last meeting, except Provost Hagedis was traveling and got into the meeting very late, so he is catching up. One of the last comment you made, it keeps, it changes. I mean, I until last year, I taught a cybersecurity, a cyber law course. And I said to the students, if I took a nap for 15 minutes, something has happened in this space. I mean, it's a real challenge I think, for all of us, and how, and how we develop a policy. And we've been talking about a system-wide policy guide, which I think will be forthcoming, I think. But I think this is a huge change. Obviously, it's going to have a huge impact. So, comments for questions of Provost Hagedis? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Completed our tour of the campuses. We now come to the system office.
No, we
Dr.
need
Bloom?
Southern.
Yes, we need Southern.
We need Southern.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Oh, my apologies. This is terrible. Okay, we're going back to Southern.
Julia.
Dr. Irwin, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's
Oh,
no intention
no
intention to slight you.
no problem. Good morning, Regents and colleagues. I wanted to thank first Chancellor Maduco for reporting out on the NSF site visit for Quantum CT that's happening yesterday and today. As mentioned, Dr. Christine Brabridge is the lead for Southern and a co-PI in the grant, which includes Southern and CT State, along with a couple places you might have heard of, UConn and Yale University. Of course, CSU comes first. Relatedly, we had an emerging technologies forum sponsored by Southern's Innovation Hub. This forum a couple weeks ago was entitled Unlocking Future Pathways in Quantum AI in Education. And it was designed to not just talk about kind of the state of where we are in these issues, but to explicitly introduce students in STEM to industry partners. So there were breakout groups after the panel where industry partners could talk to students that were interested in internships and employment. Faculty and students from Southern recently traveled to the COP30 Global Climate Summit in Brazil. I'm getting increasingly jealous of these cool trips that my faculty and students are taking, but I'm really happy to report back. This is part of our
You
coastal.
didn't join this. I gather you did not join this trip.
I did not, and I'm wondering why I did not. These are students from our new coastal resilience program and faculty that do quite a bit of work surrounding ocean. You might remember they also went to Nice, France this past year for the Ocean Summit. Students across our university recently presented their first year research experience, or we call it FIRE, projects across the week, getting students involved in research in their first semester. And we now have a Provost Award that actually gives the students $5,000 to continue their research. And the project that we have chosen, they don't know this yet, so hopefully they won't see it until an hour or so from now, involves the impact of sunscreen on the ocean and on our natural world. In my time as interim provost, I have been intentionally developing our honors college, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about that. It's something we're so proud of. 50% of our honors college students are now signed up for accelerated pathways. So that's a 4+1, so bachelor's and master's. Honors college students are increasingly beginning to complete 2 capstone projects. So initially, all honors students had to do a thesis, but then there was kind of some choice where you could do a community engaged project or a study abroad. And it turns out honors college students wanted to do more than one, so they're doing multiple. We're really pleased about this. And I want to mention that we are now partnering with CT State to take transfer students from CT State's Honors College into our Honors College at Southern. The last thing I want to mention is the topic of our university forum, which will begin early next semester, which is cultivating inclusivity and belonging, supporting neurodivergent students and students with disabilities. This is co-supported by Faculty Development and our Center of Excellence in Autism. It's something we're really beginning to lean into here to when we think of inclusion, to think of neurodiversity and potential disabilities as well. And we have programs, for example, with Fairfield Public Schools, where we're bringing high school students through our early college that have autism on campus. So this is something we're really dedicated to, and I'm pleased to see that the faculty and our center director has kind of put this together for the entire campus. So I will leave it at that.
Regent James.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Irvin. I have a question. I'm very happy to see the collaboration, particularly between CT State and among our institutions. Are we also collaborating with or learning from other higher ed institutions outside of the state of Connecticut that have been involved in these integrated neurodiversity programs as well?
So what I would say is that even our Center for Excellence internally, and I want to just give some credit to Provost Hegedus, who actually was the very strong originator and developer of this particular center. So he left an incredible legacy for us. So thank you so much. So this center has individuals that are internal, but also, again, Dr. Hegedus brought in one of the kind of foremost autism experts in the world, Dr. Fred Volkmar, who is our endowed chair of so he's the endowed chair, the Dorothy Goodwin Endowed Chair of Special Education. Did I get that right, Stephen? And also was the previous director of the center. So he has contacts kind of across the country. But in general, we have quite a bit of expertise on campus in this area who have contacts across the country as well. So across departments from occupational therapy to speech language pathology, we are kind of working toward best practice in this center. I would say that there's kind of a need for more programmatic development both within and also in the state. There's just such a need for these kinds of programs that we are increasingly trying to develop those. And the idea here was to our new director, Dr. Carrie Sasu, is actually now full-time in the roles to do that. I was very pleased to hear the laudatory comments about Birth to Three, being a developmental psychologist myself. So we are kind of doing our best to both model and give best practices to educators across the state and parents and families, and also learn from communities outside of the university.
Okay. Thank you. I'm quite familiar with Dr. Volkmar's work. Would love to, in a different form, just learn more about the work that you're doing in this front.
That would be wonderful. And that is my research background as well. So that'll be enjoyable.
The Center for Nanotechnology, which is doing really fascinating work. So, you have a number of, cutting edge, fascinating work. You have a number of very interesting projects going on there at Southern.
Absolutely. And I think that center will soon have a new name if it's approved, right? The Center for Quantum and Nanotechnology. So we're hoping to see that upcoming.
The expectation is that my expectation is that the board will approve it based on the committee's recommendation. Anyway, one would expect that, I hope. But one should not get ahead of the board action. So, any comments or questions of Dr. Irwin?
Yeah, Regent Bloom, just want to quickly just commend Dr. Irwin and obviously the Southern community. In a different form, would love to tag team with Regent James and learn more. I know in the system office, I've been asked, is there an opportunity to look at this globally across CSU in terms of our neurodiverse, not only students, but really the communities that we have here in Connecticut? And I am planning on meeting and connecting with Autism Speaks at their headquarters. So would love to kind of just ask this group, our provost, is there an interest for us to be more collaborative, and also to maybe during Autism Awareness Month, host some type of convening, right? To have this dialogue both internally and also with external stakeholders. So just more to come, and I'll follow up with you outside of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor Madugo. I certainly would hope that we would follow up on this in this direction as you suggest. Any other comments? Questions? Dr. Irwin, thank you for a most interesting report. I certainly, again, apologize that we would have missed it if I hadn't been brought up. I'm not sure what I was looking at that moment, but thank you very much for this fascinating report. Now we come to the system office. Vice Chancellor Diamond.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I hope you are all staying warm in the frigid weather outside. I wanted to draw your attention to the attendee at the meeting here today that you've not met before. before. Carly Kubasek, can you give them all a wave? Is joining us at the system office. And some of you on this call may not be aware that our beloved Kayla will be going on maternity leave in the next few months here. We're hoping to hang on to her as long as humanly possible, but we are absolutely thrilled to have Carly come on board. She obviously is here a few months in advance because what we do is pretty intense. And so you will start to see Carly's name show up on a lot of communications, and we've been hauling her in, excuse me, to every single meeting that we've had. This poor woman started on Monday. She's already been through Provost Council, Academic Council, and is finishing out her first week with us today in ASA. So we are really excited to have her on board, and the segue between Kayla going on maternity and Carly taking over will be seamless, and we're very excited to introduce her to you today. I just have a few other points that I wanted to make news from the system office. You all have been very supportive and appreciative of my fervor in the updating of ASA forms, the directory that we went through, but now we are in the next phase of this. Is we are going on and taking the deep dive into policy. I already told you that we were focusing on, and Provost Hegedus also mentioned the work on the academic integrity update. We're looking at APR and low completer. I did want to point out that we have stood up the dual and concurrent advisory committee that met one time before in the fall last month, and we are meeting again this December. Also, the Academic Integrity Committee is being charged this month, and that work will move forward. Every single one of the provosts is a member of the Academic Integrity Committee, and we will be focusing on the policy. Obviously, there will be additional lines in there to focus on AI, but there are other updates that need to be made. Again, as a refresher, the academic integrity language used to live inside the student code of conduct. Last year, we pulled it out so it could be a standalone policy. So again, welcome to Carly, and those are my updates from the system office for this month's meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Diamond. It's encouraging that Carly hasn't run screaming from the place after this week. So
Friday is not finished yet, Regent.
Okay. You have more tortures for her implant pending before the end of the week. Okay. Dr. Stevens.
Good morning, everybody. I just have a couple quick updates. I wanted to first commend the campuses. I have been working with the various student success shops, and I've been working on our food and our food pantry report, and many of our student regents have commented, and our student advisory committee students have commented on the support that they have received over the past month from their food pantries and their campuses. A lot of our faculty and our staff have supplemented and supported our food pantries across our systems over the course of the past few months with a lot of the stuff going on federally, and our students are very appreciative of what's been going on our campuses. And I just wanted to acknowledge that on this meeting and let everyone know that the students have been recognizing the support that has been going on with food insecurity across our campuses. So that's my first comment. The second comment is about our automatic admission program. We had got our November numbers. Last year at this time, November is the big month where our high school students are using our automatic admissions program. Last year at this time at our universities, we had 8597 was our number, and this year it has risen to 10,294 students. So we have risen over 1,697 students are using our automatic admissions program in the state of Connecticut. So that's wonderful news that we are opening access to our students through our automatic admissions program. So those are my two updates, and thank you, and happy Friday, everyone.
Dr. Stevens, thank you. Any comments for good and welfare before we take a motion to adjourn? I want to thank Chancellor Maduco for attending the meeting and participating. We hope to see you. I hope to see you in future meetings as well. So thank you. May I have the favorite motion that we have at every meeting, the motion to adjourn? Somebody make the motion.
So
So
moved.
moved.
The second.
Second.
Again, I also want to thank the provosts for their, all the provosts for their contributions as they make every month. It's edifying for us to see what interesting things are happening on our campuses. So thank you.
Thank you for another very interesting, exciting meeting, Chair Bloom. So
Thank you. Thank you. May I ask all in favor of the motion to adjourn?
aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Meeting is hereby adjourned. If I had a gavel, I would hit the desk, but thank you. I thank everybody. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank
Take
you. All
care.
right, folks, the live stream has ended.